nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Roll call, please.
Lois Tiley,
Present.
Diane Dennis,
Here.
Christine Newman,
Here.
Richard Horner,
Here.
Michael Nesbitt,
Present.
Kathy Harris, and Sarah Tiley.
Here.
Any changes to the agenda?
Yes, sir. We will cross out ZBA meeting. Therefore, letter C will become National Register of Historic Places. D will be tree bids. And E will be updated resolution.
Take a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
I'll make a motion we accept the agenda as amended.
Support?
Support.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Announcements, public comments? Move on to Spicer report. Mr. Spicer here?
So soon. So my name is Neil Nowak. I'm with Spicer Group, design engineer. We have I'm sure you have the Spicer engineering report in front of you, with some items highlighted in red. I'm not sure of the printed color. But if you have any questions, I'd be happy to field those. Just the major thing going on right now, as you're probably aware, and maybe you've seen the truck throughout the village, is the hydro excavation for the drinking water asset management grant that we're teaming up with the village and then a contractor from downstate. And we've been in the village, we've been doing that for probably the past 3.5 weeks, and we're ahead of schedule and actually a little bit ahead of budget too, I think so. And what we are uncovering would be water services to determine the material as is on display there. We're finding a lot of old, just galvanized lines, a lot of new copper too as well, but so.
You said highlighted in red? What did you highlight in red?
Well,
Theirs isn't highlighted in red.
Some of the new items, so at the drinking water asset management, probably beginning at the UIS Pipe Tech bullet point. That's what I just kind of described there.
Oh, it's lighter. I can see. You can pick it out.
Okay. Yep, so we are planning to finish that up,
Right
the
here.
majority of the project
It's
this
lighter
week,
than this up here.
the field work anyhow.
Okay.
And then on page 2 would be the phase 1 water system improvements. The design is kind of continually changing, but we're getting that wrapped up and hopefully get a new estimate of cost, and we'll get the USDA RDAP completed and in, as well as the design for the Maple Street pump station, which is the main pump station within the village,
Mhm.
at the end of Maple there on the east side of the highway.
We're doing something with that too.
Well, we did meet with Spicer and we had some initial conversations about how we would approach maybe rehabbing or replace them. They're just trying to get maybe some pricing moving forward, a design, that kind of thing.
Okay.
I don't think we're at the point of doing anything yet, but that is the most critical.
But you never know when.
That is the
Yeah.
most critical piece in the sanitary sewer system.
Yes, it is.
And it's 50+ years old.
Yeah, it has reached its capacity.
Yeah.
It's
It's
beyond
life.
its life cycle.
Yep.
But it's holding on, but we need to start planning for the future, that's for sure, so. And on the pipe tech, the contractor and Spicer, it's probably going as smooth as you could ask for a project to go, honestly.
Okay.
They're good at it, yeah, we had a little hiccup Friday, but it was neither one of their faults, so.
Well, I see them moving right along all over, so.
Yeah, so, you know, it's,
Some of the places I've seen them, I was telling Hart, made me nervous because I've bet they're finding lead after lead after lead after.
Yeah.
Mostly galvanized, I mean,
Okay.
it's about, I would say it's hard, and I don't know what percentage he was coming up with, but a
13%
village of this
galvanized.
age, and
Yeah.
luckily, I think a lot of it's in our new project will help take care of a lot of it. so
Okay.
that's a
And-
good thing.
I did reach out to Congressman Molinar on Friday and spoke with Joel from his office and Senator Stabenow's office that, you know, any congressional pet projects you guys are working on in the village, don't forget about us. We're looking for $3 million. If you can figure out a loan or a grant for us,
Grant.
sorry. We're already going after the loan.
Yeah.
If you can figure out a grant to help pay for some of it, we'd be grateful, and I know you guys like to have things that you can comment on at re-election time, and we'd be happy to be a benefit of that, so.
Okay, and that's kind of all I have for tonight, if you don't have any questions, so. Thanks.
Thank you, Neil.
You're welcome. You should go home before it starts to storm.
Yeah, is it supposed to?
Yeah, man.
Feel free.
They say yes, but I don't think so.
Thank you.
I'd hold up just for a few minutes, see if anybody else shows up.
Move on to council minutes approval. Council minutes for March 9th. Any questions on those? If not, do I hear a motion to approve and
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the March 9th meeting.
I'll
Support.
support.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Moving on to the commission and committee reports, the Downtown Development Authority, April 8th. Any questions on that?
Yeah, why did they decide to clean the carpet instead of replace the carpet?
We're,
But, look, to replace the one suite is about $5,000, to clean it's about $475. So they just,
Well, what if they clean it and it still smells?
then we'll probably
Replace it.
approach that, yep.
I mean, it's gotta be old,
That, much of it, I believe, is original.
Original.
art.
original.
Yeah,
Well, that's old.
yeah.
Oh, wait.
It is. I mean, I would just replace the carpet, wouldn't you think? If it smells musty and it smells bad, I'm not sure what cleaning it's gonna do.
I don't think it's gonna do much either, but I guess,
I think some of it is, the room has been closed for 2 years.
Yeah.
Cleaned once a week.
They have money.
They do have money, but,
Okay.
they don't always want to spend it. Although I've been trying. Much better.
Yeah, but you got a group on there that's not gonna spend a lot,
But you ought to see him, he does aggressively move on them.
does he? Oh, you go to those? Oh, do you? Then you should be speaking up.
They told me shut up, sit down.
Okay.
Okay, let's move.
I would just add the Easter egg hunt, over 150 people, 1,000 eggs. It was pretty successful for year one in 28-degree weather.
Amazing, isn't it, what those
Good
kids will do to get
No.
candy?
I've seen a few people on Facebook that just wish things would have been kind of separated a little more age group wise.
We did, and we had 75 handouts to show the separation,
Mm-hmm.
and then 150 people showed up. And so next year we'll have a
So
microphone.
half of them didn't know where to go.
Right.
Correct, and much of the younger kids, a few younger kids didn't get eggs, so we gave them candy. But now we know more for the littles and less for the big, and
I was reading about the Saginaw one that they have on the courthouse lawn. And because it's the businesses in that area that put that on. And they said what they do is they schedule like each group, age group.
Time.
And yeah, so they go,
10-minute increments or something. That's not a bad idea.
which might not be a bad idea for next
Yeah.
time.
We split it up, and again,
But
the
you-
maps were good, but when you don't have enough, people are just running around grabbing whatever they can find.
Well, this is the first time again in a while,
Learning
and,
curve.
you know.
I thought it was great. I thought it was
My
really good.
grandson had fun.
It was especially for the first year,
Yeah,
so, you know,
I
come
thought
on,
it
do
went
that,
well for,
you know. Hart
Just
was
think what'll
great.
happen if it's like 60 degrees.
Yeah, I mean, Hart, he was great as the Easter Bunny, you know.
So awkward, so
It
awkward.
was good.
I couldn't see.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
couldn't
he did
see. I
good.
felt terrible.
you did great, you did
Jenny
great.
was pretty good about strategically hiding eggs and stuff like that. I'm like, ease up on him.
Yeah,
Apparently
Good, Jenny.
a little DDA participation. I mean, there's only 2 members there, so maybe next year we'll do a little
Probably
bit more.
nobody else seen you trying to get out of town on that horse, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Saginaw said too that they started out, when they originally started doing it, they started out with like 3,000 eggs and now they're up to like 27,000
Wow.
eggs.
Wow.
So,
But it got to the point when we were leaving, I couldn't see, so I'm holding my wife's hand trying to cross 52, but all the kids are leaving the park and they wanted to wave one last time, so she's like, you can't go now. So I sat there for 10 minutes just waving.
people were going by.
We saw you like,
honking
he's
their
not taking that
horn.
suit off. He's gonna have to ride that home.
Well, so then the kids are excited, so I start doing this like a little kid on the playground, and people are honking. And so then I get over to the car, and I'm like, babe, I can't take the hat
Right.
off. There's kids right here. She goes, you gotta get in the car. I'm like, I can't fit. She goes, you gotta figure it out quick. So I bend down like this and put the seat back as I'm coming in, so the head will fit in there. And still just doing this because there's 4 kids next to me. She's like, you look ridiculous. I'm like, I didn't ruin any. Like, my fear was the helmet falls
Right.
off,
Yeah.
and some kids. That man is ugly. It's not funny.
We watched from
So
across. It was funny.
You did a great job.
Yes.
You did a great job.
nightmares for life.
And don't you dare divulge his identity.
Can't put that in the paper.
Oh, okay. No more questions on DDA. Let's move on to the Parks and Recreation Committee of March 16th. Any questions on those? Any comment on those?
Well, it looks like they're moving right along.
I think one of the things we're gonna really focus on parks are the signage at coal miners in the back by the roller rink. Some of the tribute signs are just worn away and very old. So I think we're gonna look at having Dan fix them up, make them nice. That's gonna be a major focus this month, next month.
He doesn't charge that much. He's really good at what he does.
It looks so much better
Mhm.
when it's done.
Yes, it's like that flag on the bridge back here. That's barely, you can barely tell what it is.
We will address that tomorrow.
I think you ought to like move that somewhere else and get a good one and put it.
Weren't we ordering something? What happened with that?
Chris, what are you
Didn't we order
talking about?
something?
The flags on the poles, the
Oh,
first
put it
one
in
on
order
this
for
bridge,
Oh, yep.
the first bridge.
Okay.
Were
You can't
they
even tell what
ordered?
it is.
They're ordered.
Yeah.
Okay. You might, Chris,
Yeah, we the DDA, or did we ordered new ones from a Kalamazoo banner company. And
Okay.
They have not been shipped nor ordered. No payment yet. This was last year.
Really?
Yeah.
We had ordered.
From where?
About it last,
Kalamazoo banner
a
company.
while ago.
Call him, drive over and get them.
I said I would come pick them up. Actually, this is November 8th.
Okay.
November 8th.
Wow,
Cancel it and try a different banner company.
oh, that's a lot of time.
I just happened to notice that one the other day and I thought, you didn't even see the stars.
We'll look at it first.
Okay.
thing in the morning.
Put it on the other end of town.
Any other questions or comments? Moving on to the Planning Commission meeting on March 17th. Any questions or comments on that? Vote.
No, but it looks like they're working their way through the ordinances.
Yeah, we're getting there. We've got to be probably 70% of the way through. We're gearing up to take it public for review and comments before bringing it to this board, who has ultimately the final say. But
I see the truck guy made it there.
Yep, he found his way and he spoke for 50 minutes or so.
Okay.
We do have some questions. It's nice having Steve Harris, who did have a truck, kinda helped with that. Mr. Jendersky's still not happy, but we are trying to find solutions because we have a few truckers in town, but one of the issues he's really pushing is, well, there are options to park it elsewhere. You can still get a ride home, as Steve used to do. But, well, with fuel so high, we're afraid they're gonna siphon it out. It's a lot of, we're afraid, of
Okay.
hypotheticals. So we will address it again, I'm sure, next week, and we'll get to the bottom of it. But one of the issues was he's been doing it for 30 years and no one's ever said anything. Now somebody isn't upset with him, so now he's gotta change.
I haven't seen a truck there for 30 years.
Yeah.
I've never seen a truck there.
Me neither.
I mean, I am the police department.
I said the good news is you got away with it for 30 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
we've always watched it pretty close, I mean.
Yeah,
He must have parked it
building
around by the
inspector has always
river.
Usually kept an eye on those.
yeah, and we have normal phone calls about that topic. So, for him to get as upset as he was, is most people just move, park in a commercial lot and ride home, lock up their things, but
Did he say what he actually hauls?
he did not.
It's a hazardous chemical, I do know that.
Well, I was told, it's just a rumor, that he hauls explosives. If that's the case, I don't agree with it being parked in the village. I mean, if he can just bring his
They are banned in this
truck
village.
park, a tractor park home, that's one thing, but,
And that's what he says, it's just the tractor. But
oh, okay,
we're still getting to the bottom of it.
okay. I just don't feel like we should have explosives sitting in there.
I agree.
Really, you know?
Any further discussion on the planning commission? If not, do I hear a motion to accept and file the Downtown Development Authority, Parks and Recreation Committee, and Planning Commission for March?
So moved.
Support?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to communications. You have your review magazine. I don't know if Hart told you, but you will be quizzed on certain items in there tonight.
I didn't even, well, I can't cheat, I didn't bring
Hey,
it.
Don, did you get a magazine this month?
Which magazine?
The review?
No, I didn't.
It's because I,
For some reason, yours keeps getting lost in the mail, so
oh, really?
we just we make sure you get one. Sometimes you get Mike's, sometimes you get
If I miss something,
Don's.
fill me in.
Well, when I get them, I'll give you mine.
Well, this one says help is here, I almost opened it, but I didn't.
You didn't want to
I
be,
actually read this one because it's got
blindfolded.
the marijuana stuff in it.
Oh, it does, I'll have to go home and look at it.
Too.
Wow.
You failed.
Well, it makes the packet heavier, so I take it out.
It does make the packet very.
You know what, John? I think I got a magazine.
Comes to your house,
House.
and you've been sailing
That's
down.
my agenda. This is not good.
Well, I
You
didn't
lost
see
your
it on
agenda.
Jenny's store.
Here's
But
one if you
all I'm
want.
saying is, you know what, if I get one next month, I'll let you know.
Just
Okay,
add-
yeah, because usually it's not a big deal. I'll just usually, most of the time, give you Mike's, and then I let Mike borrow my copy to read.
Okay. Doesn't matter, I guess.
Moving on to the, play in the parks.
Nothing to ring with.
You can write on this one.
I don't know, right, I just
Oh,
puzzles me very well.
well, it's gotta be the other piece.
Anyone have any questions about this play in the parks, or you have any further information, Art?
I do not. I do not.
Well, I see they're teaching pickleball, aren't they?
We're teaching
Does anybody
pickleball,
play pickleball?
how to kayak, how to stand up paddle.
I'd like to learn how to kayak.
I do know that the water will be turned on next week. They have a new water fountain that allows you to put your water bottle in there. That'll be at Lumberjack Park.
Oh, nice.
Okay, cool.
Other questions or discussion? Payment of claims. Any questions or discussion on the claims? Other than that receipt that we had here, we didn't know what to do with.
Yeah. What do we get for CDs percentage-wise? Interest rate,
That, Marguerite
don't-
would know
Marguerite does
that,
that.
sorry.
are we
I
like
don't think
anywhere
they're
near
that-
2?
I don't think they're very good.
Okay,
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
okay.
I know she looks around and tries to get the best
Mhm.
ones, but they're just pretty low everywhere.
The market's pretty low.
It's good for loans, but not good for savings.
Yeah.
No. When we had $400,000, it was like 15%. Now we have 3 million and it's 1.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll change in 2024.
Okay.
If no questions, do I hear a motion to pay the bills?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $293,623.
So support,
Yes.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. New business, set market dates for the St. Charles Farmers Marketplace for 22.
We're almost there. We have new signage going up, probably in the next couple weeks from Dan Hellman. There was a complaint that people didn't know what day and what times. If you're driving north, you would see a sign on that little banner on the south side, but when you're coming into town, people don't know, so we wanted something on both sides so people know. Tuesdays 3 to 7, so that should be going up. We're looking kind of something temporary, seasonal, but it fits the rest of the signage of the village, so. We have discussed internally what we think it should be, but it ultimately is your decision.
Well, give us a clue.
We were saying
July 13th?
July 13th, and normally we go to the end of September, and then recently we've had nice weather in October and we get requests for more, but I think July 13th, end of September is, with a couple Saturdays worked in there, would work out nicely.
I'll make that motion.
Support,
I'll support.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Discussion on the ZBA fee schedule?
Well, we were looking into possible, talking about the planning commission and our ordinances and variances and whatnot, and whether or not the cost that we require for a permit covers the publication that we have to pay for, and we found that it really doesn't. And those are the receipts you'll see, that our $250 permit doesn't cover the cost of $380, where we have to notify every resident within 300 feet, businesses, things of that nature, or tax abiding areas and businesses. So I kind of spoke with other managers in the area, and some were flat fee. Well, Mr. Wickman at Heartland, who's now in Chesaning, we're gonna do lunch next week, but he did 700 when he's in Heartland. I think that's a little excessive, but I think something along the $500 mark would cover our costs and keep us safe for all permits. And I think it'll go to planning next week, but I just wanted to make you aware because it will be coming back. But this is more background information. I originally looked at the Zealand, kind of the difference, whereas some businesses can afford versus residential, but ultimately we end up paying for it, and we should make it
Oh,
You know what,
it's
you'd be
expensive.
revenue neutral.
It's expensive because it's registered letters,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep, certified.
certified.
So it should be absolutely neutral. Scott,
I think you're probably right with the 500, because the circle's a lot bigger than you think it is too. When you put that thing on there and draw that circle.
Yep.
Yeah,
Surprising what's in it.
yeah, a lot of people.
So I will be taking that to planning next week, but you might see it next month.
Okay,
How do you measure the circle? Have you ever done one of those, Jenny?
I have. On the GIS program, you highlight the property that you are getting the ordinance for, or the changes for, and it will, there's a drop-down menu on the side, you select 300 feet, and it will give you the property numbers and name and address of everyone that lives
Okay.
within that 300-foot boundary.
And do they take that square of what you're looking at and go from each corner 300
Right,
feet?
it
Okay,
actually, the 300, if you look at one of those, if you have an odd-shaped lot, your 300-foot
yeah,
dimension around the outside will be oddly shaped as well.
okay, so it does just what we used to do by hand with the protractor.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
so nice, huh?
That's really nice. Okay.
All righty. Move on to item C, National Register of Historic Places.
Yeah, so I was telling some other people, I went to Frank's last week and I was in the parking lot and I was looking at the Style Trend building. And I was just thinking, holy, that's the epicenter of the village. And I'm surprised it's not a historical landmark at this point. So the next morning I decided to look into it and I began the preliminary process of making it a National Registered Historic Site, whether we get a plaque on there or something. But it's a lot of hoops to jump through. They need it on a CD or a zip disk or a thumb drive. You have to have everything labeled. You have to tell them probably pages and pages worth of information. So I've gathered a lot of that, went to the library, researched a lot. Mr. Palmer would have been the perfect person, may he rest in peace. I haven't reached out to his brother yet, but one of the first things you have to do is get the building owner's permission. So I called Mrs. Fields and got her permission. She does intend to sell this year. I mentioned to her that this could help increase the value of the building, as it has been a hotel, it has been a grocery store, it has been a hat shop, it has been an opera house, it has been a, 1895, there's a lot of history
I
there.
don't remember it being a hat shop. There
The
was a
hat
hat shop
the hat
next
shop
to it.
was next to it.
Oh, was it next to it?
Yeah.
Hattie's Hat Shop, I
Yeah.
believe.
Because it looked,
Sadie's, no, Amira, Miss Amira's hat
This is
shop.
yeah.
so we're doing the research. I just wanted to, if you have any information or
Ask Don Slager.
people is what I'm looking for here.
He was a downtown worker, so, I mean, his insurance company was there.
Okay. And that's why.
Soon.
Yeah, I understood. We're hoping to get into the building and take pictures of everything upstairs and work on through the process.
Have you been in there?
Yes.
I was gonna say, wait till you see the pictures they have. Did they take those
I
down?
kind of want to take them off the wall and hey,
A lot
can I
of
use
these are
these?
from there. We took them and made copies and stuck them up
That's
here.
what I'm going to try to do. Ron is supposed to call, so.
Okay.
Right now I'm working on the architectural properties identification form, which is just another step. But I think it would be really cool, and when you think about the history and
And they've kept it up so well.
it's in great shape. For again, you can go on GIS and it's like sale price, and I don't remember when they bought it, but before that, it starts in 1895, 1896, and it's been there. I mean, it's in every photo, darn near, and so it's something I really want to make happen and put notice, and I think it'd be really cool.
It's had an assortment of a lot of different stores in it individually,
And I think it helps going forward. I don't know, I know there's some talks about maybe this place wants to buy it or the museum wants to come over or things of that nature, but I think it just adds to the history and whoever does end up there I think they'd appreciate it. So I just was hoping you guys could tell me names, or if you want to tell me history or anything, I thought we could bring it up, but I'm gonna reach out to Mr. Palmer and then Thomas Mudd. I don't know if anybody knows Mr. Mudd, but he's done this before, and so I'm gonna call him and hey, how do I fill this out properly, and how do I get
Trying
this
to
through?
think of the guy's name that wrote all the books about St. Charles. Cliff McKellar. I think he's dead.
What about,
But he wrote books. I mean, there's
what about Dale Greaves? He's done a lot of, he's done a lot of.
He might remember what was in there, I mean,
Yeah.
he's older than me,
He's done a
so.
lot of historical stuff too.
Hmm. Mostly on the river though,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
all those buildings along the river, and the other building that's really old in town is the bank, well, Tony's,
Tony's, I was gonna say
was the
that
bank.
too.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
They didn't start their bank road until after the 1930s.
I know, but I don't know what that was
Before
before.
that, P.A. Hartley carried the money around his pocket, he was a banker.
Was he?
He used to, if you needed a loan, you'd walk up to him and you'd ask him for it, no paperwork. A lot of people borrowed money from him, and
Just a handshake.
he was a pretty neat guy, from what I have
He
heard
flew
from my
planes.
parents. Huh?
He flew planes out of the golf course, of small planes, not big ones.
Well, he's had something to do with the building planes too, didn't he? Seemed like,
He was a car dealer, he did a lot of stuff.
car
A lot
dealer.
of
Audrey
stuff.
Burns, what Audrey Burns belongs in.
Audrey Burns,
Yeah.
He started the
She
first
won.
junkyard in St. Charles.
maybe ask them
He
if
started
they
my
would
dad
think
in
maybe
the
Audrey
business.
I
Burns
don't know,
would know.
would Audrey Burns know
Hmm?
much?
She
Audrey
would
Burns
know.
Might
She
know
would
some
know.
stuff, Audrey Burns.
What
She
about
was
your
the
Uncle
clerk
Bill?
here for a long time.
I doubt it.
I
Maybe,
think she's
I could
younger
ask.
than I am. Oh, she's older than
Phyllis could probably tell you a lot.
Well, I was thinking we could get Phyllis and Don
Yeah.
together and
Yeah.
go over to Union Court and have some coffee and.
Another name is Mary Brownlee.
Oh, yeah, she knows
Yeah.
everything.
She's your brother's neighbor.
Yeah,
We just have to walk next
we'll
door.
just go next door to you. You do that.
She does
She-
know a
she-
lot.
she
and
knows
she's
a lot.
sharp.
She remembers it too.
93 and she
Sharp
She
as a
is.
Oh, yeah,
cuts her yard walking.
Yep. Yeah, she lives right next to his brother, and yeah, she's
Yeah.
smart as a whip.
Carol, maybe, across the road from us.
Cuts her own grass, they
Carol
say.
Bernadoni?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
maybe.
What
Yeah,
about
she's sharp.
Tina Beeler too? She's done a lot with the museum. I don't know. She's quite young.
I don't know, she's young, she didn't live here way back then, but
Yeah, so there's a lot of questions, you know, was it a Native American campsite or a village or early farmstead, homestead? How did you document it? What artifacts were found there on the property?
you know, we had to do a dig once on the corner where the two rivers come together. And we had Michigan State come in here and do a dig looking for Indian artifacts. I did that, so that wasn't that long ago, it's gotta be around here somewhere.
Okay. Okay.
Over by the train bridge?
Mm-hmm,
Right over there?
but where the two rivers come,
Yep.
and that whole diamond thing there.
Okay.
And that was before we put up the bird garden, we had to do that.
Okay.
Well, I called it.
That's really cool.
Waterfall?
Waterfall is.
Okay.
Observing the water.
I had all the time planting those dippers. so-
Yeah, it was bad.
Well, I thank you for those leads. It's, you know, the books only tell us so much, so.
Did the museum a while back, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, have recordings of what people talked about in St. Charles? And they have
They
it on
do.
tape, and that would be really good to listen to.
They have my
at the
dad,
museum.
Babe Presidio.
Oh, a lot
I forget
of
who they
people.
interviewed,
Okay.
but they interviewed
Not
them
the
and,
older, 90-year-olds.
yep, and they told their story and,
But that would give a lot of valuable information.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much history would there still be around from the St. Charles Union?
Oh,
well,
wow.
they've got all that.
They do have it all?
They have them on microfiche,
Yeah.
because we have a copy here, I think.
They had those.
I know, but that's where they put them.
In touch with them.
Yep.
My aunt owned that. Dave Steele, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. And that, the guy they had for the reporter, he's still around, I think, isn't he?
I don't know, but she put anything in the paper. If you did anything and she found out about it,
Yeah.
she stuck it in the paper.
I think I had my name more in the paper more. Mr. and Mrs. Horner did this,
Yep.
and son Richard. Jeez.
Yes, I
Drive you
know.
nuts, you couldn't do nothing to stop me.
You couldn't.
And Nellie Brockman, she was one of her reporters, and she was my aunt. Oh, well. Okay. Any further discussion on this issue?
Thank you.
You're welcome. You've been a service. Moving on to tree bids.
Chesaning Street and Saginaw, there's a limb and a tree, and on Chesaning there's 2 trees. So we received some quotes. Thurston was $2,600 to do it all. Monk was $2,900. Thurston was $2,100 if you only did half the tree on J, and Monk was $2,400 if you only did half the tree on J. But I figured for $500 you might as well just finish the tree.
Well, yeah, why would we take down half a tree?
So,
It's,
well,
it's,
What does it have, one go this way?
well, it's
one go-
got one big one that hangs way over the road, and the other one
Okay.
hangs towards the house, and the property line goes right through the middle of it, probably the right way, so
We may as well
it
take it
should come
down.
down.
so 2,600 being 2,900, and new budget season, and we did put this in the capital improvement plan.
Have we used Thurston before? Who is that?
Yeah, we use Thurston.
Travis Thurston.
Travis Thurston,
And we
okay.
reached out to the Acorn too, and they never give us a bid back.
Well,
I asked them on my trees, and they said their equipment wasn't high enough. Do they not have, as,
You don't have the high lift anymore you used to have.
oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
know the one over in Hanchet, he didn't want to bid because that was a very high, large tree, but we did reach out to him, so. No, we've worked with both companies in the past, they both do good work, so.
okay.
No difference in them, I mean, this is remarkable or anything,
Just the price.
just the price.
I make a motion, we, accept the bid from Thurston for the removal of the trees.
Support,
I'll support.
all those in favor,
Aye.
Aye.
opposed, motion's carried. Next item is resolution update.
So I think it was last December when Brian Wendling, via Zoom at the time, or it was December of 2020 actually, where we were moving the Benton Street relief drain to move it from chapter 20 to relinquish to chapter 4 so that we could change the funding of it. In their research, they found out that the Benton Street relief drain is actually part of the St. Charles relief drain, which encompasses the Vine Street relief drain, Park Street relief drain, and Pine Street relief drain, including the Benton Street relief drain. So now they would like us to update the resolution for the Benton Street relief drain of the St. Charles relief drain to just that portion they will do the work on. And so the point of this is so that when they complete the work, we can move it to chapter 4 so that they will assess the municipality and the county along with the landowners who drain to that drain, instead of in chapter 20, which would then fall on 87% to the village, 2.88% to MDOT, and the rest of the county, 10 point something percent. So this puts some onus on the people that will benefit from the work. So that is the point of updating this resolution and eventually relinquishing the drain.
Anybody have any questions? Do I hear a motion to approve the resolution 22-5?
I'll move.
Support?
Support.
She whispering down there again on me.
I'm
She
sorry.
supported.
Support.
All right. Do we need a roll call on this?
Might as well.
Yes.
I think it's probably the safest.
Lois Tiley,
Yes.
Diane Dennis,
Yes.
Christine Newman,
Yes.
Richard Horner,
Yes.
Michael Nesbitt,
Yes.
Kathy Harris,
Yes.
and Sarah Tiley.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. Departmental reports, DBW reports.
On the water end of it, this is our Eagles reporting month, basically, is March. been working with Spicer and Pipe Tech on the hydro excavation, and like I said, it's, for the size of that project, I think it's going pretty good, it's all cooperated, and I think it's going well. Sewer, we did have to replace one float on East Maple lift station, we did hire city sewer cleaners to come out and try to get as much grease out of there as we could. There's still some large chunks, I think we'll wait till summer, and they will, for a little bit more per hour, they will actually send a guy out for confined space, and he'll go down in there and try to cut them up so we can suck them out of there.
Okay.
They're like big floating icebergs. He can only do so much with degreaser,
But that'll keep them going longer.
it makes them operate better. It doesn't necessarily plug anything up, but the floats, it screws them up.
Okay.
The on and the off and the high and the low and all that stuff, so just another maintenance issue that has to be done,
Mhm.
so. The streets, basically routine patching. We, did do quite a bit of storm sewer cleaning in the Saginaw Street, Hosmer area there, the last little good rain we got, showed some, catch basins that need to be cleaned. I hope we got it flowing good, it appears to be working now. We have started sweeping the streets, not on a regular basis, but during the day, we got through the whole town, we got through most of the winter debris that was left, so hopefully we'll be able to start routine sweeping again soon as the weather warms up a little bit, and, the rest has basically been equipment repair and waiting for spring, so we have a lot of little things to clean up and landscape, and we're gonna try to start working on the kiosks soon. I know that's kinda, we talked about that before, we'd like to get that knocked out and get it looking better, so. How many other little projects are?
Oh, kiosk is one for now, DDA is gonna pay for that. There's a lot of little things, a lot of, with the winter thaw and everything coming through, people are upset with their driveways and the marks on the road, and so a little cleanup stuff, but we've got things coming down the pipe.
Getting back to the water, we wanna, as soon as we get through the hydro excavation, we wanna do the final walkthrough of the print, so for the phase one, we can make sure we got everything as right as it possibly can be. But that'll actually be going to every household and verifying every service where it's at, and there's a few little different, there's down by the old water tower, there's some work that needs to be to abandon that, we talked to Neil, so that'll have to be designed. But hopefully, by the end of this month, we'll have everything we can do done and move it forward, so.
Now, we did the 170, or are doing 170. 174. Now, are those the only ones we're going to fix right now?
We are going to fix 5% of whatever we found in those within the next year.
Okay,
Well,
what,
no, the way the DEQ states it, you have to have the inventory completed by 2025.
oh, so we'll do this again next year with another,
Well,
no,
not the hydro excavating.
okay,
So when Neil's report's complete, we'll know the ones of the 174, but you have to have it done by 2025, and the report into the DEQ, then after that, you have to replace 5% a year minimum per year.
so how
How are we gonna find out?
do you find out what the other people are?
Now, when we cross that bridge when the time comes. I don't know.
Are you into digging? Are you-
How's your arms?
Hopefully will give us a representative sample of what.
Right, but then everybody else,
Right.
it's supposed to be done to everybody eventually, right?
Well, I mean, everything is.
Do you have some you know are fine? Well, yeah, the
Yeah.
ones in 174.
No, you can pretty well, anything that was updated main-wise, probably after 1960, you can guess that at least to the curb box is not going to be galvanized, because those materials were not used at that point in time.
Okay,
And even on the old stuff, what we're finding, most of it is copper to the curb box. There's very few galvanized lines coming from the old main.
okay.
So we'll see how the state approaches it, because I can't believe every municipality's gonna dig up every service, it's just not possible.
Well, yeah, it just doesn't make any sense at all.
So after Spicer submits this report, and I'm sure we're gonna have some conversations with Eagle but of the known ones, you have to do after 2025, 5% a year.
Okay.
In 20 years, they would hold everything. I think of probably at least 50% that we've found so far will be included in this project. And then a few the ones like on Walnut, that was a brand new project, so that's all copper to the curb box.
Okay,
And some of the, you could probably guess if it's galvanized inside.
right.
Inside the home, it's gonna be galvanized to the curb stop.
But the ones they did check, they're checking them at the curb box.
Both sides, property and public side, and then also verifying in the house. They're sucking about an 8-inch hole, 18 inches within the
Yep.
curb box down to the service line. Neil's got a tablet there, we take a picture, it's all going into a file, and then when we get that wrapped up, we do need to knock on doors and try to get in the homes and take pictures of the service line coming into the home too.
Are you finding meeting like this with 3 different and 1 foot?
Well,
That's something you might wanna look at to see the repairs, 2 repairs and still blown out.
Two previous repairs, this would be the third one, and that's all on the homeowner's side actually, but it was so close to the curb box, what are you gonna do? It was copper on the village side, but that's typical. But that's why
We're doing what we're doing, this kinda, again, shows why these water rates are needed, the increases, to pay for what's underneath that's been untouched for
I think we got some.
decades.
I see they're sending out these insurance things again for water lines. Sounds like it might be a good idea, maybe look into them.
if they have that water line insurance, I think if their line springs a leak, that company may pay for it.
But they won't pay for
They
these.
won't pay for replacing it unless there's an issue with it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's that service line insurance that was promoted.
Well, I had it for a while, and when I went and inquired about it, I asked him, I says, like, if you gotta go across the driveway, who fixes the driveway? Well, you do. They don't cover
They repair
the
it.
line, that's all they cover. They don't take care of turf or anything else. And that don't make it a very good insurance policy.
Yeah, and that's an issue, I'm sure we're gonna end up repairing it, but like the state says that we have to replace the homeowner's side line, but the landscaping, I'm sure we're gonna end up doing that really.
Yeah,
I mean,
you tear it up.
prior to the new lead and copper rule, it was all on the homeowner, that was their responsibility, it was never the municipalities.
Well, the way it appears, man, was all copper going into the other.
Right, but what I'm saying, before the new lead and copper rule, back in the old days, you put in a new main, you ran a copper service line to the property line, whatever they had, you tied to it, and that was
Yeah.
the homeowner's responsibility. Now it's
So
all,
we take it to the house,
if it's lead or copper, we have to.
let it
If
cover.
it's lead or galvanized, if it's copper, we are not responsible for it. Once we replace them, it'll go back to the homeowners.
So, is it the copper got, when they solder them together?
Not the service line, there's never solder used underground, that's in the home.
Oh,
They're all
okay.
compression, aren't they?
They're compression or flared, yeah.
And how far do we go in the house?
We have to go 18 inches inside the wall or to the first valve,
Okay,
so we'll be putting a valve at 18 inches.
yeah,
That's what we're gonna do.
yeah. Wow,
So it's gonna be a huge.
well, I'll say,
I feel like we're a little bit ahead of the game, with this grant and being able to do this, and we're no different than anywhere else.
Yeah.
Well,
We just
and-
might get to the finish line on this first, or
Yeah, if you
rip
watch,
off the first Band-Aid first.
if you watch the news, some people are still fighting about it, so
And
I
the
think we're doing
thing,
good.
the thing of it is, we have to, even if it's galvanized, they get the same letter that a lead service line would be. Cause the
Okay.
state considers galvanized lead because it could have been connected to the main with lead.
Well, I read the thing that we got Friday,
Yeah.
and it's telling me to run my water before,
It's certainly not a bad idea.
okay.
But even if a person were to have galvanized in the house, we're not gonna cure that. So I mean, the
Yeah.
flushing is no matter what,
Mhm.
especially on an older home, the recommendations are not a bad idea. And I hope people don't panic
I think we have all copper.
and go buy a bunch of, bottled water, because that's, we're not saying it's not gonna affect their health.
Well,
It's not unsafe.
The first thing that came into my mind, which is always wrong, is, well, we have copper, so we don't have to worry, but that's not true. Because there's places it's going through that don't have copper.
The main usually isn't so much of an issue
Okay.
here, because it's,
Then I was right, so tackle
they,
it.
they put, they treat the water's treated for softness.
Okay,
And even the old galvanized or cast iron mains have, there's a coating inside those mains. Like, I don't, you ever flush your hot water heater and you see the little chunks of white plaque? I don't know if you ever do that.
no,
Anyway, it looks like plaque on your tooth. It's like a lime soft.
that would be in the basement. I haven't
Right,
been in my
but anyway,
basement in
that-
20
That
years.
is to protect the water from touching the mains, but the biggest thing is the service lines. The Flint had their issue because I'm sure everybody's aware of how the water was treated. It was totally accelerated everything, and that's basically why we're doing what we're doing. There's always lead and copper, but it changed the rules, of course. It put way more burden on the municipality.
And with the additional, you're asking about the additional, all the rest of the services, other than the 174 that we found. Well, since I think we are a little bit ahead of schedule and budget as well, I think we need to hear back, wait on the state to see how they want to move forward on with, I mean, it's 100% grant, so, I don't anticipate us giving that money back.
No, if we can use it to do more, that
More,
would certainly be
yeah.
a good thing. And the 20%, I think, is so they can come up with an average across the system and guess what the materials are made.
Well, and with inflation, it may only do 70.
Right.
That's,
That's, well, we don't even wanna talk
No.
prices. What we've been hearing is nuts, to be honest with you. Hopefully things change, but we're not to that point yet.
right.
Any further questions of Don?
No, but thank you. My street looks nice. Swept.
We're trying.
And now we're picking up, branches now, right?
Yep,
The,
brush.
the first full week brush.
Brush, yeah.
We've already done our
Wow.
first pickup, yep.
Okay.
Yep, Waste management does have, yard waste.
They do, if you can tie them together
Not
and,
many people use it, but we do have it. So.
Mhm.
Yep, we made our first slot through the village and according to it.
okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Doing a good job, you guys.
Well, we do the best we
Absolutely.
can. Is there any other questions?
As long as the boys are so smiling
No,
and
just
working.
that sign on the bridge.
What?
There was a problem.
Sign on the bridge.
Oh,
Hart will remind me, I'm sure, if I don't. address it tomorrow.
I think I've said it enough.
I get CRS sometimes, I need to be reminded.
Okay.
okay, let's move on to the police department report. Anybody have any questions on that? Do you have anything to present to us?
Good evening, probably not too much, spring's here. People, when spring arrives, they come out. And, like I said in here, they're not all making the best decisions, so, we're just kinda having to revisit maybe making different choices as people come out. So it's busy. This, last few months, we were without a dispatch center, leader. That got corrected this last week. The MEI's office, kind of broke down. We were without an MEI service for about 3 months, and that just got corrected in the last couple weeks. So it's kind of taken a little of those, the weight of those extra burdens off all the local departments to kind of pull together and pick up the slack when that happens. But it's part of, the relationship we have with those people, but it's just been a lot of changes, and it's across the board. I know it's not just law enforcement. for sure. I mean, when he was talking prices, you know, I was like, whew, it's everywhere. So, yeah, we're, doing well. We had, a ride along on Saturday, one of our potential new hires. We've got a couple other that will probably be, riding along here in the next couple of months. So, anticipate that will be probably happening as well. Working with the school still on the unified command for any incident, critical incident thing that happens, Austin Police, or I'm sorry, the fire department. So we're moving still with that and hoping to have a good finalized, plan in place before the end of the year, so.
Good deal.
Any questions?
Not at this moment. Thank you.
I did hear the school's getting smaller.
Yeah, the rumor is that that may change.
So then they do have a new medical examiner then?
That's correct. Yeah, well, the system, they had a company, a private company that had come in and taken over, the county and several counties. And I think something happened, they didn't feel like the private organization in that role didn't fit well, so, I don't know all the details, it was messy, of course, but Saginaw County has then re-picked up that medical examiner role, so the county is now again responsible.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Move on to the building inspector report.
We had 7 new permits come in, 5 mechanical, 2 electrical. Complaint log, there were quite a few complaints that came in. I can say all but the first 2 have been resolved already. The first 2, I'm hoping we can get a municipal civil infraction bureau in with our new ordinances, so we can write tickets in-house and get those taken care of, save us some money on, attorney fees. So, that's all I've got. I do have another, commercial project possibly coming to town. I'm waiting for some revised plans from them to determine if we actually need to go before the zoning board of appeals for one of their issues. So once I get those, we'll know more on that. So, that's all I have.
Any questions of Scott? Thank you, Scott. Let's move on, public comment. Still got nothing to say? No. I tried. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.